Good morning, everybody. So we'll read from the 37 Practices of the Bodhisattva, the little yellow booklet.
Everybody got this book? Outside I have few. So I think in the bookstore have?
We have.
Yeah, okay. Somebody come in front, have seat. Somebody stay here, it's fun in this area. Yeah. No, I mean people can stay. There, yeah.
Okay. Does everyone have a copy of the 37 Practices?
Yes.
We'll begin on page 2. Namo Lokeshvaraya. While seeing that all phenomena neither come nor go, you strive solely for the sake of all beings. Supreme Guru and Protector Chenrezig, at all times I respectfully pay homage to you with my body, speech, and mind. The perfect Buddha, source of all benefit and happiness, arise from having accomplished the true Dharma. Since that depends on knowing the practices, I shall explain the way of bodhisattvas. Having now gained this great ship of freedom and fortune so difficult to find, in order to free yourself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence, listen, reflect, and meditate day and night without distraction. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Attachment to loved ones churns like water. Hatred for enemies rages like fire. In the darkness of ignorance, one forgets what to adopt and what to avoid. Abandon your homeland. This is the way of a bodhisattva. When negative places are abandoned, disturbing emotions will gradually decline. Without distractions, attention to virtue naturally grows. When the mind becomes clear, certainty in the Dharma arises. Live alone in seclusion. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Family and longtime companions will part from each other. Possessions gained with effort will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest, will leave the guest house of the body. Let go of worldly concerns. This is the way of a bodhisattva. In bad company, the three poisons grow stronger, the activities of learning, reflecting, and meditating decline, and love and compassion are lost. Give up such companions. This is the way of a bodhisattva. When one follows a true spiritual friend, faults will dissolve and good qualities will grow like the waxing moon. Consider this friend more dear than your own body. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Who can worldly gods, themselves imprisoned in samsara, protect? Therefore, seek refuge in the three jewels, the undeceiving source of refuge. This is the way of a bodhisattva. The Buddha taught that all the unbearable suffering of the lower realms is caused by wrongdoing. Therefore, never act wrongfully, even at the cost of your life. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Like a dewdrop on a blade of grass, the happiness of the three worlds vanishes in but an instant. Strive for the supreme state of never-changing liberation. This is the way of a bodhisattva. When mothers who have loved you since beginningless time are suffering, what good is your own happiness? Therefore, give rise to bodhicitta in order to liberate infinite sentient beings. This is the way of a bodhisattva. All suffering, without exception, comes from seeking your own happiness. The perfect Buddhas are born from the altruistic mind. Therefore, truly exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even if someone driven by great desire steals all your wealth or lets others steal it, dedicate to them your body, possessions, and all virtues of the three times. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even if someone cuts off your head when you haven't done anything wrong, let all their negative deeds upon yourself through the power of compassion. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even if others slander you throughout 1 billion worlds, in return speak with a loving mind of their good qualities. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even if someone exposes your hidden faults and insults you in front of others, view that person as a teacher and bow with respect. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even if someone you have cared for as dearly as your own child regards you as an enemy, love that person even more, as a mother would her ailing child. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even if someone of equal or lower status, driven by pride, treats you with disdain, respectfully place them on your crown as your teacher. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Though you may be impoverished, always disparaged, gripped by disease and tormented by spirits, never lose courage, but take on the misdeeds and pains of all beings. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Though you may be famous and revered by many, and are as rich as the wealth god himself, having seen that worldly fortune is without essence, do not be proud. This is the way of a bodhisattva. If the enemy, your own anger, is not tamed, subduing outer enemies will only make them increase. Therefore, subdue your own mind with the army of love and compassion. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Sensory pleasures are like salt water. The more you drink, the greater your thirst. Abandon at once all things that give rise to clinging attachment. This is the way of a bodhisattva. The way things appear is your own mind. Mind itself primordially transcends fabricated extremes. Knowing just this, do not create concepts of subject and object. This is the way of a bodhisattva. When you come across things that attract you, like beautiful rainbows in summertime, do not regard them as real and abandon clinging attachment. This is the way of a bodhisattva. All suffering is like the death of your child in a dream. How exhausting it is to hold illusory appearances as real. Therefore, when you meet with difficult circumstances, see them as illusory. This is the way of a bodhisattva. When even one's body must be given up when aspiring for enlightenment, what need is there to mention material things? Therefore, practice generosity without hope of reward or karmic results. This is the way of a bodhisattva. If you lack moral discipline, you cannot accomplish even your own purpose, so wanting to achieve the purpose of others is truly absurd. Therefore, protect your discipline without concern for worldly existence. This is the way of a bodhisattva. For bodhisattvas who desire a wealth of virtue, all harm is like a precious treasure. Therefore, without hostility, be patient with everyone. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Even hearers or solitary realizers who accomplish only their own purpose strive as if putting out a fire on their heads. Seeing this, practice with diligence the source of good qualities for the sake of all beings. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Disturbing emotions are destroyed by insight grounded in calm abiding. Knowing this, cultivate meditative concentration that purely transcends the four formless absorptions. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Without wisdom, the other five perfections alone are not enough to reach complete enlightenment. Thus, combined with skillful means, develop the wisdom that does not distinguish among the three spheres. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Unless you examine your own confused ideas, you might look like a practitioner but not be acting like one. Therefore, always examine yourself and abandon confusion. This is the way of a bodhisattva. If you are driven by disturbing emotions and talk about another bodhisattva's faults, it is actually to your own detriment. So don't mention the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Concern for gain and respect causes conflict and a decline in the activities of learning, reflecting, and meditating. So abandon attachment to your circle of friends, relations, and benefactors. This is the way of a bodhisattva. Harsh words disturb others' minds and thus diminish the practice of a bodhisattva. Therefore, abandon harsh speech, which is unpleasant to others. This is the way of a bodhisattva. When disturbing emotions become habitual, it is difficult to reverse them with antidotes. Thus, the soldier of mindfulness wields antidotes as weapons and destroys disturbing emotions, such as attachment, the moment they start to arise. This is the way of a bodhisattva. In brief, wherever you are and whatever you are doing, always examine the state of your mind. Act to accomplish the purpose of others through constant mindfulness and awareness. This is the way of a bodhisattva. With the wisdom of threefold purity, dedicate all the virtue gained from having made such effort toward enlightenment. Dedicate it to clear away the suffering of infinite beings. This is the way of a bodhisattva. In accordance with the words of the holy ones regarding the meaning of the sutras, tantras, and their commentaries, I have written these 37 verses on the ways of a bodhisattva for those who wish to train on the bodhisattva's path. This composition will not be admired by the learned because my intellect is poor and my education limited. However, I have followed the sutras and the words of the holy ones, so I believe these ways of a bodhisattva are not mistaken. Still, because the vast deeds of bodhisattvas are difficult to grasp by simple-minded beings like myself, I beg the forgiveness of the holy ones for the mass of my errors, such as contradictions and incoherent reasoning. By the virtues arising from this, may all beings give rise to relative and ultimate bodhicitta, and thereby become like the protector Chenrezig, who does not abide in the extremes of existence or peace.
Shaji jarbe jalang guzan zar dorjen janje delo naro dam marbam la juje gambo ba pamo ba jawan rogung ba gaje lama nanje da jo je danan zera damje da lama lab la Jesus Losan yonde jamzung ala ba ndende donjen de begele zor jinje zavel lama jeje gozon doje zunla da da ge julan ben da ge dimba da zunje je don jajin ban de bra zunje lab de zor.
Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. Okay. Yeah, I think it's I'm so glad to have this golden opportunity to share it with you all.
as you know, today I am going to teach the basic Buddhism. So, which means what is the Buddhism? Whether you are religious or non-religious, Buddhist or non-Buddhist, doesn't matter. You can learn, and after then you can analyze, and after then you can practice. So usually in this world we have 7 billion of people. So everybody, most of people are religious. Some of a few they are non-religious. So the majority of these people, why we need religion, and religion does what things for us, for our life. So these things are we need to know. If we know what is the religion, especially what is the Buddhism, if we know about these things, then we have come in some enthusiasm, diligence, interesting to practice with Buddhism. So that's where we want to know that. In this way of the Buddhism explanation, they say this is the samsara. So we are the baby of the samsara. We are baby, okay? Baby of the samsara. So in this samsara, what is the samsara? Yeah, first I little bit talking about this. What is the samsara? Samsara is the word of the Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language is ancient language. Recently, just a few people use that. So I learned in English translation of Sanskrit samsara. They say the cycling exists. Cycling exists means we are rebirth in these realms, and then change the body one time, and then come back again, and then go and come back. That's where cycling exists. Okay, if this is samsara, is cycling exist or not, it doesn't matter. But the lifestyle of this cycling existing, then what we need, that is important. What we need is important, and why we need something. These two things is important. So that's where I think in this world, the religion is exist in this world. For example, in the town, why we have a hospital, and then why we have a medicine, why we have a doctors, because they have many patients, because we have illness. So the hospital is for in order to for helping people who get sick. Same like that. So religion is like a medicine for recovered. That's where the Buddhism is one of the religion. But the Buddhism, inside of the Buddhism, subject has different subject. The instruction of Buddhism, the medicine of the Buddhism, philosophy of the Buddhism, the science of the Buddhism. So therefore, 4 different subjects. So today, actually this afternoon we have a meditation class. During that we do meditation. But first, this morning, my responsibility is to teach the Four Noble Truths. I think most of you all maybe perhaps heard about the Four Noble Truths, or some of them not heard before about the Four Noble Truths, but it doesn't matter. Today you understand what is the Four Noble Truths. What are the Four Noble Truths? But due to my English skill, my teaching skills, right now if you not clear, don't worry. Later we go to the dining hall. You have opportunity to ask me again. You have opportunity to debate with me. You have opportunity to learn. So that's where don't worry about that. And from me here, in my motivation is it's really time to help you. At the same time to help myself. So that's where you all spend precious time. In 1 week, maybe have only 2 days vacation, maybe someone have only 1 day, but you spend that precious time to come here. So I don't waste your precious time. So I try to help you as much as I could. So then before start to teach on the Four Noble Truths, my wish is we all little bit practice on the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, right now we read it with this book. The bodhicitta is also the language of the Sanskrit. In English says loving kindness. The definition of loving kindness is always do wish well for other beings. In briefly, may all of living sentient beings will be happy. That is bodhicitta. Or just your friend, may my friend will be happy. This is bodhicitta. And you can think, oh, may my teacher will be happy. This is bodhicitta. And the teachers think, oh, may well be my students will be happy. This is the bodhicitta. It's very easy, but we want to continuously practice on there. Then we become bodhisattva. Bodhisattva means then we become in order to compassionate. So we want to be that. So till now you have this experience or not, it's no problem. Right now momentally we are going to practice on there. Okay. So today my idea is usually we think well for other beings, well for other sentient beings may well be happy. We always thinking like that. Perhaps you have interest in with that, perhaps you don't have interest in that due to what is the sentient beings. Then how I can help to them, just it is motivation or something, you have many questions with your mind. So that's where the best example is, right now we have here maybe in order to you all have a friend beside of you, right? So before you know each other, someone know each other, someone don't know, doesn't matter. So fundamentally, all of you, including me, we need the happiness. We don't need suffering, right? Agreed? Yes. Oh, good. So that's where then you pay attention to your friend. Your friend means your right side or left side who are being right now. So you thinking from your mind, may this person will be happy. Can you think like that? We a little bit meditate on there. Just your behind or in front or no problem. If you also who thinking on me is fun. May he will be happy. I will think you. May you will be happy. So right now we are a little bit meditate on there. Okay. Ready? Okay. So this is the way of the practice on the bodhicitta, loving kindness. Always think, may will be happy, this person, that person, this person, or this cat, this dog, this horse. So like that. And then why we want to give this loving kindness to that person, then we can understand a bit the Four Noble Truth. So now I am going to start to teach the Buddhism, basic Buddhism. So first I want to teach a little bit about the history of the Buddhism. So how comes this Buddhism? And then what times, who created the Buddhism? So I want to teach a little bit on there, okay? So Buddhism is the master of Buddhism is Buddha Shakyamuni. Everybody have a small picture. This on this tanka. This is the Buddha Shakyamuni. He created this Buddhism. So he came in this world 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago. Maybe 2,560, someone says 75, someone counting the 60 some years. In order to that moment he come. And then there's two explanations. One is someone says Buddha Shakyamuni is already become enlightenment, already become Buddha, but he freely come in this samsara, and then he took some lifestyle of the worldly lifestyle, and then finally he become he just show action of the be enlightenment. But someone says he is just first come in this world. That moment he is just ordinary life. He is very normal. But due to his problems, he get a lot of obstacles, and then he renunciate, right? Renunciate in this lifestyle. That's where then he go to the forest and he did the meditation, and then finally he become Buddha. Anyway, so both is correct because he did both. And then he came 2,500 years ago, and then after he become Buddha, he meditated under the tree for 6 years. But his father is a king, and he is a princess. And then his nephews, his younger brother, and his younger brother's parents are very, very negative. They're completely jealous with him because they're worried he will be king. He will become king. That's why they don't like to be, he will be king. That's why since he was young, there are lots of challenge to him. Destroy the different ways. Sometimes do like rumors, and sometimes they, in order to directly or indirectly destroy it to him. That's why he get a lots of suffering. And then he grow up. In order to almost his whole life, they jealous with him. And then his father is king. He is powerful, but his father has a very interest in the lifestyle of only this life. Cannot think for next life, cannot think others' happiness. He couldn't think much. He think about his son, Buddha Shakyamuni. He would be his son is king instead of him. Only he thought like that. So by this way, then Buddha Shakyamuni since he was young, actually his mind is a little bit different. So he not see that much value in these worldly activities. So that's where then, but at the same time he got a lot of obstacles through this way. But he got a lot of opportunity to learn the knowledge. He learned 65 different arts, different knowledge, different languages. So that's where he is knowledgeable, he is skillful, but he is unique. But this way then, due to the problem of his family and himself, so finally he ran away. And then he just ran away and for solid place. He not stay continuously in the kingdom, but he would like to get some answer to his question. Why get us suffering? Because his father is king, mother is queen, and he is princess, so he is completely rich. He has power. He has lots of wonderful things with him, but still he get a lot of kind of the irritation, right? He get a sadness, lots of problems. Then why he get that? Then who can remove this suffering? That's where he come that feeling, this question. But in his kingdom, nobody can answer to his question. That's where he ran away. Then he practiced physically, did the efforts diligently, but still he didn't get that answer. And then he stopped to do efforts but only physically. Then he do mentally, internally do meditation. And by this way, then his wisdom is grow up, grow up, grow up. Then finally he become Buddha. So after he become Buddha, but still his brother, nephew, right? He's still jealous. His parents jealous. In order to, there are lots of destroyed to him a lot. So by this way, in order to he become Buddha, and then he received the omniscience, and he received the genuine happiness, reality of the happiness. And then he understood, what is the nature of the Buddha? What is the samsara? What is the nirvana? He clearly understood awareness, or understood about this, and then he started to teach. Right now I taught you is grossly. So if you like to learn with details, perhaps during your question, I try to answer with you. Perhaps you can learn with some book. They are very details. So anyway, then he become Buddha, and then he start to teach to his students. Then he has only 5 students. So he first gave to teach to these 5 students. What did he give teaching? He taught the Four Noble Truth. So then today also we are going to teach on this subject. So first I want to teach Four Noble Truth. What are there? First is the truth of the suffering. Second is the truth of the causes of suffering. And the third is the truth of the cessation. And then the fourth is the truth of the path. These 4 things. So today we want to learn on the first truth, the truth of suffering. Okay? So the truth of suffering is Buddha Shakyamuni. First he says that we want to recognize the truth of suffering. What is the suffering? Perhaps most of people, even though some cows, horse, dogs, they also understood what is the suffering, right? But this is not enough. For example, I know when my head ache, my head is ache, and I'm sick. These things I know, you know. Then why still he say we want to know what is the suffering? Because he there's 3 different sufferings. The suffering of the suffering, the change of the suffering, the pervasive of the suffering, pervasive suffering. So these 3 sufferings. So first we want to know that. So first we want to teach on there. And then the suffering of suffering is very easy. For example, this morning my head is ache. After, then my stomach is ache. This is the suffering of suffering. We have suffering, still another suffering is coming. This is called suffering of suffering. Father passed away, and the mother. Sometimes lots. In order to double and triple suffering coming one by one, this is called suffering of suffering. So this is we need or no need. We no need. The suffering of suffering, we no need. Definitely we no need that. the suffering of suffering we no need, then how we give up that? How we kick out that? But first we want to know that is the suffering. If we don't know that, then we make a suffering of suffering. For example, if I'm a businessman, then I sell something, I buy something, right? Due to the obstacles of my business, then I lost. I lost my money. But still, what I do, I try to be rich, so I lend the money from others. Borrow from money from the others. And then I use that money and I sell something, buy something. Also, I get some obstacles. Then what happened? First, I lost one thing by my own money. After I lost bed for others' money, that's where then I have double suffering, right? So we made that. And then sometimes what we do suffering is there's one person I destroyed that person. Due to my jealous, I try to destroy that person. First, this my feeling unhappy with that person. This is my suffering. Unhappy is suffering, right? Then next, I try to destroy. I put action, physically or by my speech. I destroy that person. Then that person become my enemy, right? Then that person against to me, challenge me. The first I am unhappy by my jealous. Another I got the enemy. Then he or she challenge on me. Then I have a double suffering. These sufferings we made that. And sometimes, I need a beautiful house. I need a big land. Then I need some treasure, jewels. Then I dig these jewels under the ground. Actually, I would get some benefit from them. So I dig the hole, for example, on the ground, and I cut in the trees. I destroy to the waters. After nature disasters coming. So these things are we met. So these things are the suffering of suffering. So lots of the suffering of suffering we met. And then we say, I need food. Then I ate a lot. After this food has some chemicals or not, what is called is not good for my stomach. Then what is called my stomach dry, right? Dry, and we made everything's due to the food. So lots of these sufferings, the suffering of suffering, we made though. We created those sufferings. If we go a little bit deep inside of this suffering, we try to get some happiness, but due to our wisdom, we couldn't get that. You know, I don't know, in Western trainer, babies have this style. In my homeland, in Tibet, I have ever did that same thing when we are very young. So we build the house with just papers and some branch of the trees. Just we build the house, but we try to make it higher. But some part I don't know. I just taking this, try to put up there, but I spend maybe 1 hour, 2 hours for this small house, but all fell down due to that I make one mistakes. Same thing, Right now, that time very young, we don't know if I take off this, then the all houses fell down. I don't know. That's where I try to make smart. That's where I took off this one part of this thing, but all of these things fell down. Same thing. Right now, our wisdom not enough. That's why we try to get some happiness, but behind there make a lot of problems. Lots of problems. That's why Buddha say we want to know that. Make sense? We want to know the suffering of a suffering. It's a little bit easy, right? A little bit easy. And then the changing of the suffering. The changing of the suffering is momentally we have a little bit of happiness. This is just momentally. But this changed. For example, momentally gathering family. Sometimes our family gathering, maybe 2 years, 3 years separate, or someone many years separate, but momentally gathering, that moment happy. And then after that person need to go somewhere, and then again suffering. So I watched the movie, maybe everybody watched the movie. One person in the jail, in the prison, but his wife come to see him, and then in the window side, she can talk with him. That moment, it's happy each others. Maybe half hours or something, then that person go back again in the prison. Then wife need to go outside, again suffering. Momentally little bit happy to see each others, and then suffering. That is true, right? It's happened in this world. The same thing. Sometimes we have some maybe morning happy, afternoon it's changed. During we are young, it's happy. Getting old, it's changed. Sometimes getting old, happy, but then before pass away, it's suffering. Some today receive the $1,000, happy. After it's lost, unhappy. So everything's a change. That's where the momentary happiness is including suffering. That's where Buddha said we want to know that. And then, kind of this, lots of things we have. For example, this place, not that much rain. Moment the rain, we are happy. Oh, we got the rain. 2 hours or half hours, clouds move somewhere by the wind. It's sunny. Then we feel not satisfied, right? So there's suffering. Right now I teach you about these things, but that moment you not pay attention only towards me, okay? Turn inside, and you pick up your own example. It's really, I have lots of example about this changing of the suffering. I think we all same. So then learn from yourself. Then Buddha's teaching is reality or not, then you figure that out. After you understood, Buddha's teaching is reality, it is true, but still you want to be Buddhism, it's okay, no problem. Buddhist doesn't matter. But we want to know those things. If we don't believe the past life, the next life, only this life, we all over the maybe 20 years. Our age is over the 20 years. So first age, first year, second, third, that moment maybe we don't know clearly. Since 5, 6, 7 we understood. Still I remember you also same. So since we are a child, and then teenagers, adults. Since that moment, we have lots of suffering. We have lots of temporary happiness. But, so why I talk too much about these things, I try to make emphasize. We really need to clearly understood on there. That's where Buddha's first teaching is. We want to recognize the suffering of suffering. We want to recognize the suffering of the changing. We want to recognize the suffering, pervasive suffering. So, for example, we do married, right? Married is for happiness. But after why divorce each other? Divorced. So there's no genuine happiness. Then we married again. Of course, we have hope. We cannot kick out the happiness in order to. That's why we do that. Why we learn the knowledge? For the happiness. Right? Why we try to keep healthy? Why we spend lots of money for our body? For the happiness. It is scientifically true. So, okay, we spend lots of money. We spend lots of time. We spend all of things for the happiness. If we really get the genuine happiness by the worldly activities, then it's fun. Without Buddhism, no problem. Without religion, no problem. Without Buddha, no problem. But I already mentioned it, as cycling exists. Cycling exists. I try to I become monk for the happiness. The lifestyle of the monk, if I cannot get the happiness, I feel not satisfied, then I turn back again in the ordinary life. Then I do merit. Then I feel not enough satisfied. Of course, I cannot find there the genuine happiness, reality happiness. Go back. That means secondly exist. So that's where we really need to know whether Buddha taught on there or not. It doesn't matter. We want to know. Okay, then the suffering of the maybe this is my sentence structure is wrong. The pervasive suffering. Pervasive suffering is a little bit difficult. Maybe we don't know that. That's why in the Buddha's teaching says that ordinary life, wisdom, ordinary general wisdom is like a baby. That's where they don't know pervasive suffering. It's similar in your hand. I put my here. Then you don't know that. If you didn't see that, you don't know. But noble sanghas, noble gurus, and they understood the pervasive suffering. Because, for example, if one here or one eyebrow come in my eyes, easily understood. I felt that, right? Same like that. They saw the pervasive suffering is very serious of the suffering. So we are on there. That's where this three suffering, we are always, these three suffering always bind, always hold our life. So, agreed? Do you agree with that? So we all have that, okay? So, but if we have that sufferings, then we think, oh, in order to, we have the suffering, pervasive suffering, and the suffering of the changing. That's where this life is useless, hopeless, homeless. If we think like that, that is wrong thinking, wrong. We have special power, energize, which is the Buddha nature. Do you believe we have Buddha nature? Definitely we have Buddha nature. Whether we call this vocabulary comes from Buddhism. Buddha nature, Buddha. This is the words of the Buddhism, right? We have reality of wisdom, reality of happiness. This is like a sun inside of our mind. But right now, then why we have these three sufferings? These three sufferings are temporary, like a clouds outside of the mind. Our action is just to follow these three sufferings outside of the Buddha nature. So now we are going to practice that moment. This next Sunday, that next Sunday, come in on the cause of suffering, little bit negative, but we want to teach on the cause of suffering. That's where the suffering and the cause of suffering is related. And that next, we teach the positive, the cessation. Oh, we have that suffering, then we can kick out or not. Yeah, 100%. Then next, we have the path to kick out the suffering or not. Yes, this is your path. That is your path. This is coming this last week in this month. Okay? So today we're teaching on this first truth. So then why we call the truth? That is important. Actually, Buddha taught the true truth. True truth is the relative truth and ultimate truth. Ultimate truth is, I will give you teaching this last Sunday and the second last Sunday. But today is the suffering of suffering and the cause of suffering. The teaching of the cause of suffering is next Sunday coming. But today, the truth of suffering, this is the relative truth. You know what is the relative truth? The relative truth means just due to the interdependent each others, then coming something. For example, my hand, the table, sound is come. Same like that, the suffering is come from by these things. I go to the mountainside, I say hello, then this mountain rock, echo, right? Echo, repeat me, hello. I say good morning, they repeat good morning. I say some bad words, they repeat bad words. Same like that. So this is relative truth. What we do then happened. So basically this suffering, we made that, we did that. That's where then result is coming. So for example, this morning we say, hi, good morning. Then you also answered me, good morning. Definitely if I use some wrong words, then your answer is different, right? So that's where the relative truth means some just interdependent to each others, the momentarily and not naturally. So then before I started this teaching, we were practice on what? Bodhicitta. You meditate your partner, may that person will be happy. If that person will be happy, then again we want to do that or not. This is my cup, right? If this cup is full of water, still someone coming to give water or not? They do not, because if this cup is full of water. If this cup is empty, then people come give me water. Same like that, our partners all need the happiness. But this way we give the compassion. We give the loving kindness. Right? So thinking again, you, for example, for taking example myself, I am full of happiness or not? Honestly, my mind said no. You are not full of the happiness. So same thing you ask by yourself. Are you full of the happiness? Your mind answer different, right? But if we compare it to someone, then we have lots of happiness. For example, one room has no power. Of course, in the night, no sun, no light, no power. Then that room is always darkness. But one room has no sunlight, but still they have power. Then they have light. Similar like that, if we compare to the other's life, then right now our life has lots of happiness, but not full of the happiness. Not reality of happiness. Reality of happiness is not change, always. The temporary happiness is when I feel thirsty, I drink water. It's a little bit make help. Maybe 1 hour, 2 hours later, I do again water. Why? Because it's changed. It's finished. So that's the same thing. You know, right now, how many people are in the hospital? Right now, nurses are busy for help those people who are getting sick. Or how many people pass away this moment? They have happily passed away. It's impossible, right? They have suffering. So it's about how many people cry right now, this moment, due to their sufferings. How many people become crazy due to their sufferings? Thinking about that, then it comes some feeling of the loving kindness, bodhicitta. And then we're talking about only the living human beings. If we're talking about some animals, how many kind of the deer, birds, they pass away without water? How many? So if we learn about these things, then we arise the loving kindness. So we want to be Bodhisattva, okay? Whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist. If I'm Buddhist, I have no Bodhisattva, then I'm not really a Buddhist. Just physically I wear these clothes. So you are not wear these clothes, you are not really of Buddhist, the system of Buddhist. Doesn't matter you have bodhicitta in the mind, you are the reality of Buddhist. So how to promote, how to improve the bodhicitta? The best things is myself, I try on there. We go to the town, not always actually town, but we see different people. That moment we see one person, may that person will be happy. We don't want to say something, we don't want to show the actions from the mind. That person will be happy, this person will. If we met 10 people one day, 10 times we practice on the bodhicitta, loving kindness. So our mind is like a baby, so it's not easily kind of the familiar, not easily to use on there. So we want to keep going continuously. Then slowly, your bodhicitta of mind is more than some kind of the anger, emotion, or some negative things. Okay? So do more each day, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 kind of these things. And sometimes you do not pick up these individuals, just may all mother thinking beings will be happy, thinking like that. So if you receive the bodhicitta this moment, then today you spend this precious time is really have some value. You come here, it has some value. Whether you see some beautiful things, you learn beautiful some culture or something or not, but this moment you receive bodhicitta, then today's your life has value. Because this there's one master, he said that I have 25 root gurus, but among them only one guru is my genuine guru, reality of my guru, because he gives teaching on the bodhicitta. So this moment I recite arise, right? Arise my bodhicitta. He said that. So you have a bodhicitta in your mind, then you are unique in this among the 7 billion of people. Really, physically you change or not, physically we cannot judge it. It is not judged by cover of the book. Maybe have you heard that? So we cannot judge the cover of the book. This is very simple cover, but inside talking about the bodhicitta, right? This book is not expensive. We gave you this. Outside is just some few letters, but inside I have very deep informations. So everybody got this. After you can keep this book with you, and then you can read, and you can learn more things from this book, more than my teachings. So that's the way. Let you first try to recognize others' suffering, and then you give compassion, give loving kindness. That's where today I introduce on the truth of suffering. If you understood that, then it's easily you can give loving kindness, easily can give compassion. If people, this is a healthy, he has money, or she has friends, or thinking like that, then it's a little bit difficult, right? Difficult to give compassion. He has no problems. He has money, he has a house, he has a job, he has something like that. Thinking about this, then we are not easy to give because of our mind is a little funny. But we really learn about whether he has a house or not, he has a car or not, he has a job or not, he is he or she in the hospital or not. But learn that person's mind, then definitely they need some happiness. So we are going to on this practice, but we want to use the wisdom. That is especially you are who newcomers, due to the only first time to listen the Buddhism in today, you really need to know the wisdom. If you don't know the wisdom, then sometimes it's misunderstanding. Why? Because someone said that, I cannot practice Buddhism because you always talk to others, give compassion, giving the tolerance, and always think others are important. Then how I can alive? How I can keep my lifestyles? People have these questions. Why these questions coming? They are not enough the wisdom. If they have enough wisdom, then due to the practice on the Buddhism, they understood there's a mature benefit. Mature, right? Mature benefit. For example, if I am going to teach, I want to drink water. If I do not drink water, now I am thirsty. After then, my voice is getting loud. And then one time I cannot teach, right? If I cannot teach, then what happened? So then I cannot help. So that's where we change the motivation. Other people need the learn about Buddhism. That's why I want to prepare something. At least I try to little bit loud, make loud my voice. So I need to drink lots of water. if taking this motivation, doing like that things, then I can teach. I'm not child, and then you get benefits. So, yeah, I think almost that's all. So make sense about the first truth. What is the first truth? Truth of suffering, yes. Truth of suffering has how many branches? 3, right? So first is, second is, third is, very good. I can learn from you, okay? Because your English is perfect. Then I have a little bit of knowledge on the Buddhism. Then it's mutual benefits. Okay. So, do you think that everybody have a suffering of suffering? Actually, you think, oh yes, everybody have a suffering of suffering. If possible, it's like a negative thinking. So this is not negative thinking, okay? First, we know that. Oh, everybody have suffering. So my responsibility is I want to remove this suffering of suffering. Then in the positive. First it's okay, negative. Everybody have a suffering of suffering. Everybody have a suffering of suffering. That's why, I don't care. Then that is wrong thinking. Oh, everybody have a suffering of suffering. That's where my responsibility is to remove this suffering. Then that is correct, excellent. Then you are the Arya Sangha. Arya means excellent, noble Sangha. You become noble Sangha. So, then second is everybody has the suffering of changing. It's true, right? It's true. Right now, our stomach is almost lunch, so a little bit hungry, maybe, or feel of sleeping or something. It's a little bit tired or something. But moment later we get lunch, it's refresh. We all become fresh. But then make question answer and again do something maybe, then again a little bit tired. But we make a refresh like that. That means cyclically exist. But then on this suffering, we make many different branches, 8 or 16 or different branches. These things are Buddha taught for the later kind of emphasizedly he gives taught on there. So this part is, of course, part of the knowledge, but reality of us benefit is these 3 things. If you understood suffering of changing, and pervasive suffering, I think this is enough for today. Okay? So then I think I'm finished to teach. But I try to recharge. So again, I would like to say we want to be good person, please. That is important. But we can fix lots of problems by the wisdom, but do not fix the bad, angry, and bad foolishly, right? Stupidly, we cannot fix the problems. But due to our wisdom, we can fix the lots of problems. Okay? So for our own selves and for others, we use the logic, we use the wisdom, and then we can solve the lots of problems. And then everybody don't be upset about the teaching of the suffering, because we understood everybody understood this suffering, and we all have the opportunity to remove this suffering. So there's no way to be upset. So that's where this who knows Who knows we have time to remove the suffering? Only human beings know. In a human beings, who knows reality of things are? We knows. I don't mean only Buddhist knows. Some Buddhists don't know. First I become Buddhist, I don't know. I spent to learn the Buddhism. First I don't know about these things. Then year by year learn, listen from the Guru's teaching through this way. Then, oh, Buddha's teaching is wonderful. Then my believing is come on there. So that's where we always keep this opportunity. And but perhaps you think, oh, the teaching of the basic Buddhism is very low. You do not think like that, okay? Buddha taught the Four Noble Truth, 5 Sanghas. First he teach this Four Noble Truth, one Sangha become Arahati. He understood the reality of the Dharma nature. Second teaching for this third of them. Fourth, then all of them. So if this is a very, very loud teaching, very, very kind of the simple teachings, then how they can become Arahati? Do you know Arahati? What is the Arahati? Arahati means they are not changed by the physically. They change the mind. Change the mind, what does change? They just become Buddhist or not? No. They change the mind means their realization is coming up. Wisdom is, the power of wisdom is come up. Then they recognized reality of things. First recognized and then slowly improve in that. So that's where this is a not simple teaching. So that's where I think this is a great karma to have opportunity to practice on there together. So thank you so much. Thank you. So then we do dedication on on the yellow book. Yes. Yes.
So starting on page 9 in the yellow book, the big yellow book. Dorje Chung, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Gampopa, Pagmodrupa, and Lord Trikumpa, please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessing of all the Kagyu Lamas. By this virtue may I achieve omniscience by defeating all enemies, wrongdoing. May all who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri the warrior realized the ultimate state, and as did Samantabhadra, I will follow in their path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the 3 kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. By the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Trikumbha Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root, and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. For this realm encircled by the snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyatso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. You are the embodiment of all the precious ones. You, a great being, are the holder and promoter of the teachings of the Shakya lion. Your perfect actions are for the liberation of sentient beings. May you, the Jetsun Lama, whose enlightened activities are spontaneously present, live long. Precious holder of the triple gem of Trikumpa, who preserves the indisputable practice of the profound Dharma, who has realized the sublime truth which reveals peace and illumination, may you, who relieve the suffering of limitless beings, live long. The one known in the Holy Land as Arya Deva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chodingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gunpo. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 aeons. In this age of strife, when the victor's teaching faces hardship, through his powerful Vajra-like conduct, he takes on himself the heavy responsibility of the unbiased teaching. May Garchen, the son of the teachings, live long. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-aware, absolute reality and shine with the 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma, may you, Kenshin Ratna Dwaza, live long. You possess the repository of the essence teachings of the past supreme Siddhas. You, the precious Konchok, are the refuge of all beings. You are the treasure trove of all the wish-fulfilling Norbus. Drubwang Konchok Norbu, I supplicate you. By the power of the wealth of our devotion and virtue, and of the deities of the 3 roots and guardians, may the life of the Guru, glorious protector, hold firm, and his actions ceaselessly spread in the 10 directions. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 Chakravartin kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate era. I prostrate to the Venerable Chenrezig, who shows whatever is needed to subdue those to be subdued.
Gevan de yin yu de da ye ze wan je ne ro wa je jai ma le ba de Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
I think there are lots of people. So in the dining hall, it's okay for question and answer.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, everybody heard this. I think pretty good. People have some smart questions, but this way someone get a lots of things. But we can do that, right? Okay, then see you there. Thank you. If you have questions with this book and that book, you can bring with me, okay?